I've had this Patriot Campers X3 trailer for over a year now, and I've been on many incredible adventures, including thousands of miles all the way up to the Arctic Ocean. I've spent countless nights sleeping inside here, cooking out of this thing, and just having an amazing time hanging out at camp. And today, what I want to do is give you an update on how well this trailer has held up. Plus, I'll just show you how I've got it packed out because I've got it dialed in really well.
Meet Brad from TrailRecon, a lifelong overlander who has spent years exploring some of the toughest terrain across the globe. The GEN2 X3 is his third Patriot camper, and after more than 12 months of testing it in every condition imaginable, he's ready to share his thoughts. Brad, take it away.
Now, I've been off-roading with a trailer for a little over 7 years now, and I've taken them on some really challenging trails. I've had them in all kinds of weather conditions, and I know some of the things that are important when you're using a trailer as much as I do that you just have to have, and what works and what doesn't work. Now, full disclosure here is I've had a long-standing relationship with Patriot Campers, and while I consider many of those guys my friends, my integrity and honesty with you guys is extremely important to me. And so while I'm going to show you some of the features and the things I love about this trailer, I'm also going to show you some of the things that they could improve upon.
The design of the GEN2 X3 is all about functionality, reducing steps and making camping that little bit easier. Touch a button and watch the roof rise. Within minutes, this compact camper trailer transforms into the heart of your campsite.
I think summer's coming early this year, guys, because it's already getting pretty warm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the trailer and put the awning up and then give you guys a tour from front to rear. What I really love about this trailer is that it is just a push of a button to raise and lower the lid, and it is so convenient. It just takes a matter of minutes. It's got big actuators on the side that just make it seamless to do this. Now, the X3 does come with a remote control, and so when you get to about this point, you come around here, you drop the ladder, which is a support for this lid, bring it all the way down. That part is done. Now all we got to do is we have 6 poles, 3 on each side. Push these up, keep them good and taut. You really want to stretch that fabric as taut as you can get it. Do that all around each side. Put on the little skirt here, and that's done.
Up next is the 270-degree awning. Quick to deploy and perfect for sheltering your camp from all the elements.
Now, the X3 is equipped with a 270-degree awning, and I'll say this awning has held up extremely well in the wind, in rainstorms. More importantly though, I use this on days like today. I just need a little shade. Whew, a lot of dust on there. This thing's gotten some use. All right, a little bit of shade, that's much better. I can say that this awning has been such an invaluable asset over the years, especially out in the desert heat and in some serious rainstorms. Now, I know a lot of people prefer the freestanding awnings. They're a little easier to set up. However, I like the fact that I can stake down these poles and put guide down straps on here to really secure this thing. We've had this thing in some pretty good weather, and it's held up great. Now, it does have some track lighting, which I appreciate. It's got amber lights that you can turn on, or it's got white lights, and those are on both sides, and that's very convenient. Those are dimmables. It's a nice thing using the red arc system.
And just like that, the trailer is set up. Now, let's take a closer look at the GEN2 X3 from front to rear.
Okay, a couple quick specs on the trailer. It's just over 12 feet long, which makes it navigating down the trail super easy. It's a little over 6 feet wide, which is about the same width as my Land Cruiser and my Jeep. So I know if my vehicle fits through a tight space, that typically the trailer is going to follow right behind. It's about 5.8 feet tall, and it weighs dry 2,557 pounds, give or take. But of course, once you throw water and diesel and all your gear in here, that weight goes up pretty good. But the Land Cruiser and the Jeep tow it pretty well. All right, I'm gonna start out here where we have the trailer hitch. And I've said this many times over the years, that trailer hitch is invaluable, that it has full articulation. So sometimes the vehicle may be going this way and the trailer's going this way, but they're still able to move together through obstacles, which makes this thing extremely capable. It's solid. I've never had any issues over the 7 years that I've been using this type of trailer hitch. We've got all the wiring here, and there is an Anderson plug to get power while you're driving. I don't have the Land Cruiser set up for that, but the Gladiator is, so the batteries will stay charged when you're going from place to place. They added some little plate system here with some grip, which makes it nice if you need to crawl up on top of the roof rack or you need to do anything up here. It's nice to have that non-slip. And then down below is a water faucet, which is nice to have if you just need water really quick and you don't want to open everything up. It's super nice. We have the Max Tracks here. This will hold 4 Max Tracks, but what I found is it gets a little heavy for the door. It'll prop up, but it's a little much. Outside here is I'm not sure what they call this, if it's fiberglass or a polycarbonate, but this has taken a lot of abuse with rocks. And I have mud flaps on my Jeep Gladiator, and still it's taken quite a few hits by some small and big rocks, and it's held up really well. You do got to kind of come in here and just kind of, get some of that black magic polish and just clean it up from time to time, but it's done really well. And then on either side in these little compartments are 11-pound propane tanks, and those are really for cooking and for fire pits. So we'll talk a little bit more about how I feel about propane here in a little bit, but let's open up the garage. And this is one of the only doors that does not have the central locking system, so you just have these standard locks up here. Now, inside here, we've got a MOLLE panel. I've got some first aid gear. I've got a hand saw that I put in here, and then this is a fire extinguisher. And then here is where some of the great stuff is. So this is a Weber barbecue, and this is on a swing arm. So this comes all the way out, and we've used this many times to grill. The more I use it, the more I like it, and realize that, it's nice not to have to wash pots and pans when you're done cooking, because you just put the cover on and put it away. I store a lot of my electrical stuff here. I've got extra gas propane hoses. I've got some straps. All the stuff for the awning is up here, so just kind of a little utility shelf for me. On this side is where the exterior shower is, and I've never actually taken a shower with the trailer, but you can, and you can turn on the hot water and take a shower, but usually I use this if I just have something that needs to be rinsed off, if you're getting muddy or whatever. It's nice to have that. I don't use the shower. I don't think I've ever used it once to actually shower. Down here, I've got my Ignic fire pit, which is just strapped to the Weber stand, and that just holds it in place. This is a Patriot Campers trash can. So basically this opens up, it expands, and then you put a liner in there, and it's nice to have at camp for trash. And then, of course, you need to have a broom and dustpan. And then this guy right here is our diesel tank, because this trailer is equipped with a diesel heater and a diesel hot water heater. Diesel water heater, yeah.
Since the very first Patriot camper, one layout has stood the test of time: the L-shaped kitchen. Stainless steel bench tops, a fridge freezer, and plenty of space for prep and storage makes cooking at camp effortless, wherever you are.
Now, moving to the side of the trailer, you're going to notice that it's got lots and lots of pinstripes, or what I call character marks. This has been down many, many tight trails, and it probably wouldn't be a bad idea at this point to get a professional detailer to start kind of buffing this out and bring this back to life. But I don't know, I kind of like the fact that it looks used. Now, I mentioned that we have a remote control for opening the lid. We also have a remote control for locking and unlocking the trailer. It has what's called a central locking system. So there are buttons for all these doors right here. Hit the button and just opens right up. That makes it really easy. Now, Patriot Campers recently did a retrofit, and one of the things that they retrofitted was putting a cover on here. And so they've done that retrofit for me as well, which is, it's kind of nice. It gives you a little peace of mind because sometimes those buttons on muddy trails can get kind of filled up, and so now those are covered. One of the other retrofits they did was this slider. They completely replaced the slider for this kitchen pullout. And I should mention before we dive into the kitchen that Regina has set this up the way she likes it, and I have to be very careful not to mess anything up. So pull these two latches up, slide it out, and then we got a little bar here, slide that out, lift this little table guy up, and you are ready to roll. So I have a Dometic dual zone fridge. I don't think I've ever used the freezer option. Generally, we're just packing this full of food, and if I'm out for only a day or two, then I'm only going to use half of this. That way I'm not pulling a lot of power from the battery. Here we've got some storage for utensils, and then down here is drawer for more utensils. You can see we got all our knives and spatulas and stuff in there. This platform has really been convenient. This is something they added for the second generation trailer, and it's nice when you're doing dishes to be able to lay them out here after you're done. And I'm always doing the dishes. We do have hot and cold water in the sink, which is really nice. Now there's a little heater system. I'll show you how that works, but it usually takes just a couple minutes and you're up and running with hot water. And let me tell you, when you're washing dishes, when it's very cold at night, it's nice to be able to have that hot water. Or in the morning, if you just want to kind of wash up a little bit, this works really well. Before we open up the rest of the kitchen, let's just address a couple things. One, this has a 33-inch tire out here, which I think is perfect. I had a trailer a while back that I had 35s on. I really think that wasn't necessary. A 33 is going to get you pretty much wherever you need to go, and there's a ton of ground clearance underneath. The Patriot Campers X3 does have a fully independent suspension, and it's on air ride, which I'll show you makes a really nice feature when you're pulling up to camp. And then down here and on the other side, you have some wet boxes. And these are nice if you have something that's muddy or that you just don't want to be inside the trailer. Typically, we'll throw our trash out here, and that works really well. Okay, now the button for this door right here, pop this guy open, and you have this really nice long stainless table. It's a great working platform. Over here, we have the Truma heater system. Now, this controls both the water heater and the heater inside. And so you turn this guy on and you'll have hot water pretty quick. Now, there is one thing that I have some constructive criticism about, and that is this actually has a little Bluetooth ready system, but it only works in Australia. It doesn't work here in the US, which is unfortunate. You can really make it nice and toasty inside the trailer, but if you're not careful, you can overheat in there, and then you have to come all the way outside and drop the temperature down. So I figured out how to have it set just perfectly for my liking, but it would be nice to be able to control it from inside in the middle of the night if you're getting too cold or too hot. But let me just say, having a diesel heater when you're up in the Arctic, man, that was worth it. But it's a good system. It's held up great and it functions well. Then we have the entire RedArc Red Vision system, and this manages all of our lights. It manages our water pump, all our inverter, which there's a 1500 watt inverter in here. It's where we can turn on and off the air compressor, which helps us to figure out how we want those airbags to run. Plus, on the other side of the trailer, there's actually an air chuck, so you can air up these tires, which I do often. Then you can see your water level and your battery level. So water tank on here, I believe it's 38 gallons. That's a lot of water. And generally, if I'm just going out for 1 or 2 days, even if Regina's coming with me, I'm not gonna fill it full because 38 gallons of water full is a lot of weight. Now, when we're going all the way up the Arctic, I was trying to keep this thing as full as possible. Battery-wise, I believe this came with 2 gel batteries that were 150 amp hours, so it was 300 amp hours of gel. I replaced those with 200 amp hour lithium batteries. Why did I do that? Well, because with lithium, you get to use it all the way down to 0 and still maintain a good voltage. With an AGM or a gel battery, the lower that battery gets, the less voltage you get, and usually below 50 or 60%, sometimes it won't even run the fridge. And so it was nice to change those out. Plus they charge faster, and I saved about 100 pounds of weight, which is crazy. And they were a direct replacement in and out. Now you can order the Patriot Campers with a lithium system. I got it with the gel batteries, and a few months later I swapped those out, and I'm thankful I did. We have a couple ports here. There's a USB-A and a 12-volt charger. What I really need, and something the trailer doesn't have, is some USB-Cs. And I think that's pretty easy to swap this out. And so I'm gonna be doing that here pretty soon, because a lot of my cables these days are not USB anymore, they're USB-C. Next to that is, we turn the air compressor on and you can see the pressure of our airbags, and then I've labeled these here so you know which one is which. And so you wanna make sure you're level on the road, but the good thing is when you get to camp, you're not stacking rocks. You can just raise and lower one side to get you as level as possible. Also, if you're getting through like a really tight obstacle that's got some big rocks on it, you can kind of raise the trailer up to kind of help give you some clearance to that section, and then just bring it down. I've done that more than once. Then we've got the external controller for opening the lid of the trailer, and then down here is just a circuit breaker and a couple plugins. In the middle here is a nice little drawer, and this is lit, and this is where I keep most of my coffee goods right here. That's the first thing I'm doing in the morning. I'm opening that drawer. Down here we've got spices, little knickknacks, olive oil, those kind of things. And over here is another drawer that slides out. We've got all our pots and pans, plates, bowls, dish towels, hot pads, all the important things for cooking a nice dinner. And then right here is our propane stove. Now, I've gone back and forth a couple times since I've had this about using a propane stove and using an induction stove. I really like using an induction stove because I don't have to set up the gas, just plug it right in. It works great in any weather condition, which is really nice. You just have to make sure you have a pot and a pan that's ferrous metal so it works on that. The only problem with that is if you decide to base camp and you're cooking on induction that whole time, you're gonna chew up your battery, even if you got your solar panel running the whole time. And so what I found is, if I'm gonna do a day or two trip, that the induction stove works great. If I'm gonna do a long trip, actually, it's better to have the propane, even though those propane bottles will last a long time. And yeah, so I kind of go back and forth. Ultimately, you know, if this thing had like 400 amp hours of lithium battery, which I think their new ST5 trailer, which is a bigger trailer, has like 460 amp hours, and that thing is all electric. I think if I just had a few more batteries in here, I would probably just do all electric. So there is a tour of the kitchen. I should mention we use this as a shelf quite a bit, but we really like the kitchen. It's very, very functional. Patriot Campers has done an amazing job.
Thanks, Brad. Our trailers are all about being compact without compromise, and the GEN2 X3 is no different. Every inch of the trailer is designed to maximize storage. Every drawer, every shelf, every compartment is made to keep your gear in its place. Just like at home, everything is exactly where you need it.
Now hopping to the back side of the trailer, let's start with this big drawer here. And what I love about this drawer is it's massive, and you can access it from inside underneath the seat cushion, which I will show you. And in here, we've just got, we've got an extra stove. We've got Regina's Omnia, which is like a stovetop oven that she loves. We've got extra lights and wires and bug spray and earplugs for those, you know, really windy nights, or if you got neighbors that are a little too loud, you know who you are. Cleaning supplies, and then of course, bear spray. So this is a very functional drawer. I've seen people use this in many different ways. They put their clothing in here or whatnot. We've just found that it works to be a pretty good utility drawer. Now, it's going inside the trailer. We've got these stairs that hop down, and then you have a door right here that this zips all the way up, and then it's got magnets at the bottom. The door is nice and big. It does roll up, and there's some straps up there. You also have a screen door up here as well, so to keep the bugs out. And then when you open everything up, you really have a nice storage area. Now, right now, we've just got chairs and tables in here, but on a long trip, We'll throw clothes in here, some soft boxes. This gets used quite a bit as a trunk.
Step inside the X3 and feel instantly at home. A big queen-size bed feels like you're sleeping on a cloud. Unwind on the lounge, and with a slide-out table and power outlets, it easily transforms into your very own dining room or office. The storage layout is designed for easy access. Even when the temperature drops, turn on the diesel heater for a cozy night's sleep. You're still out camping, but with the X3, you get that touch of luxury that makes it feel like home.
Now this is where I think the X3 stands apart from so many other overland trailers out there, and that is this massive living space you have when you're out on your adventures. It's perfect for Regina and I when we're out and maybe we get into some nasty weather and we just need a place to hunker down, or if we want to just kind of chill out and play cards at night in here, we can do that. Also, on my long trips, I'm doing work while I'm out there, and so being able to set up Starlink and having a workspace that I can do some work in here is perfect. There's a little table over there. You've got a nice little L bench here to sit on. Works out really well. So let's just talk about a few of the things. First of all, you have this wide open space. This tent just gives you so much room. The one thing you just have to be mindful of is if you are in a windy setting, this is gonna kind of flap around a little bit, and that's why I always carry earplugs. It's not terrible, but just any kind of fabric tent in the wind is not gonna perform great. Wind is my enemy no matter what I'm camping in. It does have lights all the way around, LED lighting, which works well. You can dim those, and you can turn them on from over here and from the inside, which is nice. So once you get up into bed, you can just turn that light right off. Usually I'll have a small lantern with me as well. The bed is almost a queen size bed. It's perfect, and it's a proprietary Patriot Campers mattress. And I'll say that most RV and tent mattresses just kind of don't meet up to my specs. I will say that this gel top, I think it has springs in there, and it's very comfortable. I haven't added any extra toppers to it, so this sleeps nice. There's a big mesh thing you're gonna see on here, and that just holds everything in place, so when it closes up, it all doesn't come tumbling out. But it's really nice because we can just leave our bed made in there, and then we put our pillows on the bench here and close it all up, put our gear away, and we are off and running. Now, there are a couple more USB-A ports in here as well, and again, I think I'm gonna swap some of those out for some USB-C ports. Over here, underneath this guy, is access to the diesel heater. So it's not storage, but that is, again, so nice to have. It does hum throughout the night, and it kind of turns on and turns off, but you get used to it and you sleep through it. And then on this drawer over here, when you close the fridge at night, you can access half of the fridge through that drawer right there. And then underneath both of these bench seats is storage. So you have the one drawer over here, which I showed you earlier, and then here you have extra storage, and it kind of tucks in under there. So it's actually a little deceiving on how much you actually have. There's quite a bit of storage in there. And also underneath that is where you can access the batteries and electrical system. So I don't even know how many nights I've spent in here. I'll bet it's been well over 60 this year of sleeping inside here. Speaking of the diesel heater, the vents, there's two vents along this side, and you can open or close these, and then you have a long thin vent here. There's no regulator on that one, but you have the ability to kind of adjust where you want these two to go. One thing that would be nice is if there was just one vent that was routed towards the floor. Sometimes that area there can get a little bit chillier than it does up here. So we just keep it nice and toasty. I'm gonna tell you, I love having a heater, especially on that Arctic trip. It was a lifesaver. There is a door on this side, which I have never used, but you can access the tent in and out of that side. Like if Regina was sleeping here and I didn't want to wake her up, I could crawl out there, although I think opening that and zipping up and getting out there would probably be more bothersome than me just crawling right over her. But you can use that other side as a door. And there's a little rain fly over on that side. Typically, I don't set that up because it's just an extra step. But if I'm going to be camping at a location for a long period of time, or if there's going to be rain, then I will set that up. But usually I just leave it down. Okay, let me put the tent away. Let's talk about what's on the passenger side of the trailer. We're not done. All right, with the tent all collapsed, let's talk about the top of the lid here. So we have Patriot Campers Exo Rack system, and this is a great little roof rack for mounting things like you can mount bikes up there, you can mount a kayak, you can mount storage boxes up there. You got to be mindful of the weight, and you may have to take those things on and off before you open and close the lid. But it's a great storage area. Now for me, the only thing I have up there is a 120-watt solar panel, which is essential when you're spending more than a day at camp. And then I've got my shovel over there, but I could easily put a few more things up there. Just like to keep a little simple. All right, let's hop over to the side. All right, you can see at least the paint and scratches on this side matches the other. All right, now we have, again, there's one of those wet boxes. This is where you fill your water, and it's perfect for, we got a small hose that we just put in there and fill it right up. And again, 38 gallons. Now I do carry inside here, I'll go ahead and open this up, is I have a siphon like this. And the reason I carry this is if you are on the road and you need to get water, even just to top off your tank, like maybe you've only got half a tank and you're gonna head deep into the backcountry, nobody's got a water faucet you can use. You can go into a store, grab 5 or 6 gallons of water, put that in there, and then fill up that way. I've done that several times, so this is kind of a must-have for me. I do have in this storage area, it's a nice little storage area. It's not huge, but it's big enough. I've got my water hose with a filter, I've got a couple soft boxes, and I've got one of the awning pieces that goes in between the tent and the awning to keep water from going right down where that door was. And then your fuse panel is in here. I should mention that there's MOLLE panels in several of the doors on the trailer, which is nice to mount stuff. It's very convenient. Now here we have this plug here is for our solar connector, and then down here is your air compressor chuck, so you can air up both tires. So there you have it. All right, now that we've had a tour of the trailer, let me answer some of the questions and comments I get a lot about trailers, because I've been doing this for a long time and I know how people kind of have feelings about this. So who do I think a trailer is for? Well, I think a trailer is for somebody that's really serious about doing some adventuring and backcountry exploration. If you're a weekend warrior, if you're only going out for 1 or 2 weekends a year, I don't think a trailer is necessarily right for you. If you're gonna go do week-long trips or month-long trips, you've got a spouse, you've got kids, a trailer makes sense. There's pros and cons to having a trailer. And you need to ask yourself, is a trailer right for you? And I think for some people, it's the perfect asset. And for others, maybe not so much. Why a Patriot Campers X3 trailer for me? Well, one, I'm confident to explore with these trailers. These trailers will go anywhere I need them to. In fact, they've gone up trails that I probably shouldn't have taken them down. And they've got all the conveniences when I'm out in the backcountry. Look, I was a corpsman stationed with the Marines. I've slept in a bivvy sack on the ground and eaten MREs, and I've done all that stuff. I'm a little more mature in my life, and I like to have some creature comforts like a nice bed, some heat, a kitchen. So you have to ask yourself, what is your level of camping that you want to do?
Wherever you go, Patriot Campers is behind you. It's one of those sayings we live by at Patriot Campers, and Brad's story is no different. Each journey taught him something new. How to go further, stay longer, or in other words, how to get lost. Now all those experiences have come to life in the GEN2 X3, an unstoppable camper trailer that will follow Brad anywhere he goes. Follow the adventure. Subscribe now to TrailRecon on YouTube.
I hope you've enjoyed hanging out with me. Until next time, safe travels.